Shalom, shalom, and once again, shalom. This is Doc Hurts of God Vision Ministry, and I would like to just look in the scriptures for a moment. And if you look upon the screen, you'll see the title is Wasteful Living. Yes, wasteful living. And as I think about where we're going to go today, we're going to talk about the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, the 15th chapter, and it starts at the 11th verse. And this story is the story which many people call the prodigal son. And the word prodigal means to waste or abuse or to recklessly spend. So that's why I call this wasteful living. It says in the 11th verse, and he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said unto his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth unto me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. Wasteful living. I believe that the story, as it indicates and talks about, that this young man, I don't believe he had any intentions of just wasting his money, just spending it all up. But I do believe that by him having money probably for the first time and having all of this substance, having probably new friends and probably wanted things he wasn't able to buy first, and probably going into the club and in the bars or wherever and just spending. And you know, when you got money and you're spending and you're young and you're a novice, all of a sudden you got friends you never knew you had. But as the story goes on, it talks about that in this faraway country, all of a sudden a famine happened. In other words, a famine where not only did he begin to go in lack, but the whole area began to suffer, began to go through. And because of it, now he begins to be in want. And the Bible says, because, it says no man would give to him. And he found himself getting to a point where he was looking for any type of work just to make some money, because he had spent all his money. I don't know if you've ever been there. If you ever had a job and you first start getting money, you start buying some of the things you want. And most people don't have enough discipline starting out to restrain themselves, and they buy things that they desire. I remember being in the 10th grade going to school, and I was fortunate enough to get a job working at a restaurant. And as I was working at this restaurant for the first time, getting a check, and getting that check, one of the things my father did was he did not put any expectations on me. He didn't say, I need you to pay this. I want you to pay that. I want you to do this. Whatever I got, hey, that was on me. And because he just let me have that money, guess what I did? I began to go out and buy clothes. And I mean, every style that I could get, I was buying it, wearing it. And I would just get the money and I would just spend it on clothes. So here I am in the 10th grade buying clothes, going to school, wearing different outfits, and getting used to people saying, oh, where'd you get that from? Oh, what that is. And having that limelight, realizing that every time I got a new outfit, maybe I get a couple of compliments for maybe one day, or I wear it again another week and I get another compliment. And all of a sudden, I'm getting this wardrobe, and I'm noticing that if I wear it about 3 or 4 times, I'm not getting the compliments, so I got to buy something new. Well, when I went off to the military at 19, I realized that when they took all of my clothes from me, that it wasn't that important anymore, because I had went through those phases in the 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Here I am. I went through the phase of having clothes, but I noticed that I would say almost 90% of the guys I was in the military with, the first thing they went out and bought clothes. The reason they bought clothes is because most of them didn't get a job in high school. I had been through that phase. And by me being through that phase, I realized, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to buy what I want to wear. I'm going to save up my money. And that's what I did. But I understand what it's like to wasteful living, when you're just wasting money and you have no concepts of what you wasted on. The reason I want to talk to it today, because when we think about the prodigal son, I don't believe he had bad intentions, but he found himself in a bad place. Just like most of you, you probably didn't intend on getting in the situation that you're in now. You didn't have this in your mind when you set out. But I believe that the way to get back on track is to just start over and start saying, hey, I'm going to stop this wasteful living. And I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest consumers of your finances is not just your wasteful living, but your lustful living. Do you know sin costs a lot? Sin costs a lot. When you start sinning, all of a sudden, matter of fact, they even put prices on alcohol and cigarettes. You know what they call it? They call it a sin tax. A sin tax. In other words, if you're going to devour it into this, which they consider sin, you're going to pay more for it. If you're out there and you got a wife or something, you sneaking around and you paying for motel rooms, you know that's coming out your pocket. If you're out there drinking and smoking and wasteful, and are you getting your head bad with you popping pills, you doing jiggers, you doing all kind of weed and different stuff that's destroying your body. Your mind isn't thinking right, and you find yourself doing all these things that guess what? It's like holes in your pocket, and you'll make a whole lot of money, but you're unable to keep any of it, and you'll find yourself with sometimes big paychecks, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. And sometimes you can find yourself with a whole lot of income and you're living pillars or posts. That wasteful living. When you get with the Lord and ask him to save you, you get your life right with God, and you start putting your priorities in the right place, then all of a sudden you can start seeing yourself doing what? Putting the money where it needs to go. You know, there's many people that talks about what you need. There's a lady named about Susie Orman. She tells you how to invest your money. You know, you got another guy that tells you how to put your money in these envelopes, Dave Ramsey. And they have courses, and they get people talking about how they come from out of debt. Wasteful living will cause you to be in a pit. Now, I will say this. As Christians, we can't worry too much. We have to do the right thing and be responsible with our money, but we can't make money the all in all, because you can have all of your money saved up and it won't stop you from running into trouble, won't stop you from running into problems, because you can have it in the bank one day, do all the right things, and all of a sudden it's gone. So you need to get your soul right with God. And then those things that you do with your finances become easier and easier. I remember driving truck through New York City, and there were different programs that would come on, and there was some financial experts would be on the line, live call on the line in New York City. And as they called in, they would talk about the different advice of what to do with their finances. And I'll never forget this, listening, especially to about 3 different callers. And these 3 different callers, I believe one of the callers said that they had $1.3 million saved up and they were retiring. Another one said they had another $1 million. And there was one particular lady said she had, I believe it was $5 million. And it was like five point something million dollars she had. And I'm listening to them over time on the radio, and they were getting advice from a financial person. And I realized, wait a minute, you worked all these years, you've amassed $1 million. This person worked and got $1 million. This person worked and got $5 million. And yet you call and talk to a stranger on the air because you don't know what to do with your money. Now, I want you to picture this. You are able to save up this money over time, retire, And you don't know what to do to a point where you don't go to your bank or your financial, you're on the radio taking advice from this person you don't even know. And then you realize how some people can go all a lifetime. And guess what? You can't say they weren't doing the right thing. They put the money in the right place. They put it up. They saved it. But just as you saved it, you can also, because of lack of knowledge, you can lose it. You've amassed all of this money and you're able to lose it. Why? Because you haven't thought about how to handle this. And then you got people, I'm going to say this. Many of you spend your lifetime getting money, amassing money, saving money. And while you're doing that, do you know what somebody else is doing? Somebody else is doing nothing but thinking about how to rob you. I want you to think about that for a moment. See, what you don't think about sometimes is just as much as hard as you work for the money and much as you save the money and much as you think about amassing all these sums of wealth, that there's somebody out there trying to think of a way how to get it from you. While you're putting money in the top of the piggy bank, they're trying to figure out a way how to bore a hole in the bottom and get all of the money. So why am I saying all of this? I'm saying that you got to understand money can be fleeting. Life is short. You have to get grounded and rooted in the things that are important. That's your soul. And then your lifestyle and how to help others. And with all of that, pray and ask God to give you wisdom so that you won't be a wasteful spender, that you won't spend your life in riotous living, and you won't spend your life doing the wrong thing. And by the grace of God, that he may lead you out to, the Bible says we're to be lenders and not borrowers. It says we're to be above and not beneath. It says we shall lend to nations and not borrow. We're the head and not the tail. I'm supposed to be able to tell you how to use wisdom. The Bible says that for the poor, the gospel is preached to them. What does that mean? The good news is preached to you so that you put money in its proper place. And that's not first. The Bible even tell you, say, who you going to serve, God or mammon? Who you going to serve, God or money? Some people serve money, and what's happened? It wind up. Bible talks about Egypt. It says there was a time when money failed. In your lifetime, money will fail you. But I know God will never fail you. I know if you turn to God, he'll open it. The Bible said, knocking and the door shall be open. It says, seeking ye shall find. Yes. And the word of God, I find to be true. It says he'll do more exceedingly abundantly, more than you're able to ask or even think. And I know that to be true because many of the things I asked God for, not only did he do it, he did more than I could ever think. And he's still doing it. So with this, stop having a wasteful life as far as your finances, and stop having a wasteful life in your time, and stop having a wasteful life in your spirit, and stop wasteful living, and let everything you do have purpose, have progress, and have victory. So with that being said, the prodigal son, he came to himself and he thought about his father and he went home. And when he went home, he wasn't expecting a ring. He wasn't expecting a robe. He wasn't expecting a fatted calf, nor was he expecting a party. But all of that he got. And the father received him back. His brother had a problem with it, but the father didn't. See, your brothers or sisters may have a problem with you getting back in the front of the line, but as long as you please the father, you'll be all right. The father was glad he came home. So I'm encouraging you. If you've gotten away from the Lord, get back into the word, seek him, and stop a wasteful living and live your life for God and do the right thing. With that, shalom, shalom, shalom.